This past month, Molly and I were in LA for the Dumplin' premiere, and it was an absolute blast. There were movie stars, all kind of Dumplin'-themed swag, and even a red carpet. But before Dumplin' was a Netflix original production, it was a book written by the amazing Julie Murphy. Now, seeing your story turn not just into a book, but into a movie that people can watch on the big screen or in their homes has to be a dream come true for almost every author. But how does it happen? How does this turn into this? Hollywood is obsessed with books. It's true that so many of the movies and TV shows we see today were originally based on novels, or these days, comic books. Movie producers and studios are constantly looking to bookshelves for inspiration and source material. And by the way, in this video, I'll be using the term movie and film, but know that most all of this applies to television or any kind of streaming serialized content. So as an author, how do you get your book in front of the sorts of people who actually greenlight movies? Well, you can't do it alone. Firstly, you're going to need your literary agent. Your literary agent helps sell your book to a publisher who in turn turns it into a published novel. Now, it's true that sometimes a movie deal can happen before or at the same time as a publishing deal, but usually the book deal comes first. So now your book is either published or about to be, and you're going to need another teammate. At this point, your literary agent might partner with a co-agent, or what's sometimes called a book-to-film agent. This book-to-film agent knows the film business the way your literary agent knows the publishing business. And just as your literary agent helped you find a publisher, your film agent will help you find a producer. Now, a producer wears many hats, but you can sort of think of them as your book-to-film project manager. They're going to use their experience and talent to add to your Super Friends team. A producer might attach a screenwriter or some bankable talent, or maybe even a director. Now that your Super Friends team has been assembled, your producer will approach a studio. Now, the studio is sort of akin to your publisher. They're the ones with the resources to actually greenlight, produce, and distribute your movie. Usually, getting a studio to greenlight your project is the last step in getting production started on the film adaptation of your book. Now, each project develops a little bit differently. A co-agent might go to a director before a producer, say. Or your producer might go to a studio with only talent attached, with a screenplay and director to be found at a later date. Sometimes a studio might even purchase a film directly from a co-agent, without the producer being an intermediary to begin with. The truth is that there are many different ways your book can go from a book to a film, but in each case it's going to involve the combined efforts of a lot of different people. Okay, so obviously this process can get pretty complicated, so rather than trying to cover every single facet, today we figured we'd do a little Q&A lightning round. Question 1. Does the author of the book automatically write the screenplay? That's an easy one. The answer is no. Most often the author isn't actually writing the screenplay of their own novel. A studio or the producer are going to want to work with different kinds of talent. They may have a particular screenwriter in mind. Now, it's true that if the author has experience screenwriting or if their brand is particularly robust, they might be involved in the screenwriting of the novel. But for the most part, the actual screenplay is written by someone completely different than the author, and the author only has a little bit of input on how it's shaped and developed. Question number 2. Does the author get to approve the cast? Nope. It's not up to the writer at all who is cast in their film. So if you happen to see a casting of a film based on a book by an author you love and you don't particularly like who they cast, don't blame the author. It's not her fault. Wasn't her idea. Question number 3. What is an option agreement? So you may have heard this term in references to books turning into movies. Essentially, an option agreement is a contract between the author and another party, sort of giving them the option to try and get the movie made. So think of it like this. A producer might come to your co-agent and offer an option to shop your movie for, say, 12 months. That basically means they have the exclusive right for 12 months to try and put together your Super Friends team and find a studio who wants to buy the film. Now, in exchange for giving them that exclusive right, usually the producer gives the author a small amount of money. Now, that money can sometimes get pretty large if it's a highly competitive property, but usually it's not as large as the actual purchase agreement for the book. Question number 4, what is a purchase agreement? Again, these are very quick answers, but roughly speaking, a purchase agreement is a contract wherein someone is buying the rights to actually make the film of your book. Usually a purchase agreement is between the studio and, say, the author and the producer and the team bringing the movie to the studio. Basically, the purchase agreement is where the larger chunk of money is given to the author so that the studio is buying the right to make the movie more or less how they want to make it. Question number 5. How much creative control does an author have over the final film? The real answer is very little whatsoever. Usually the author is contractually allowed consultation, meaning they get to have some say in what's going on the film side, but really all of those choices, creative ones included, are almost always completely up to the director, the screenwriter, the studio. Once your book is being made into a film, you sort of have to let it go a little bit. It really becomes someone else's creative project, which can be a difficult thing to see, but in the best cases scenario, you see your work transformed into something really fun and amazing and moving. So it can be worth that risk. Question number 6. Does an author need a separate agent for their film career? What about a manager? Well, as we described in this video, you're going to need at least your literary agent and most likely a book-to-film agent or co-agent. Usually authors don't need a talent agent because they're not going to be writing the script of the movie. Though some authors do employ the use of, say, a publicist or a talent manager if their brand is getting big enough to sort of necessitate that extra person. But to actually get a book made into a movie, you really only need your literary agent and, again, sometimes a book-to-film agent. So there you have it. That was a quick look at how books are turned into movies and TV shows. There's a lot on this topic that we didn't get to cover, so if you have any other questions that you'd like to see us answer here on Agent Brain, Writer Brain, put them in the comments below and we'd love to incorporate them into future videos. We might keep doing more of this Q&A format in the future as well. If you like what you saw here today, please like and subscribe, and you can also click on some of these other videos to keep the binge train running. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.